Having worked as a promoter and manager in the late 90s and early 2000s, Prazak worked alongside the likes of CM Punk, Colt Cabana and Chris Hero. However, it is his work in promoting Shimmer as the company's founder where he deserves true recognition. He's one of the key figures in promoting women's wrestling in North America, always focusing his promotion on the athletic side of women's wrestling where very few promotions could say the same. While definitely not a household name, Prazak's work has not gone unnoticed as he is set to be inducted into the Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame by none other than CM Punk. Good morning news. And that's it. That's our list. Now usually I take something like let us know in the comments down below if there are any individuals I've missed. Why don't we talk about smaller entries in the comments? Let us know if there are small promoters out there, smaller people working in coaching or running wrestling schools that you want to give a shout out to in our comments section, because these are the people that are securing the future of wrestling. If you want to watch more wrestling lists, click the ones that appear on the screen now. And as always, ciao and ciao.
The grand end-of-the-century Great Exhibition of London. Surely there is not a soul who has failed to hear of it. Wondrous new works of culture and industry from every corner of the globe had converged on Hyde Park, welcoming over 50 million visitors. The last great hurrah of this century. Astonished and delighted people of all nations, and ended on a note of resounding success. But as regards to the terrible catastrophe that occurred during the festivities, very few are aware my friend Mr. Herlock Sholmes had a hand in unraveling the matter. For from the shadows, it was he who earnestly unearthed the facts of the case. And like the centerpiece of the Great Exhibition, which rose high into the skies of Hyde Park, Sholmes's brilliant deductions, as clear and lofty as the Crystal Tower itself, brought the truth to light.
We're here at the showground of the Great Exhibition, which is absolutely packed with people. The weather is unusually fine, and we're about to witness a most extraordinary scientific experiment.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 20th century will see steam engines and electrical power dominate the world. Horse-drawn carts will give way to the motor car. Ships will sprout wings and take to the skies. And today, we showcase even more advanced technology. A glimpse into the future. A world first, a demonstration of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine! A man will literally be disassembled by a pulse of high voltage electricity and beamed to another location. Whereupon his body will be reassembled by a series of complex calculations exactly as it was before. In but a few moments from now, this gentleman will, in the blink of an eye, complete an incredible journey through the air. To arrive an instant later on the Crystal Tower behind you!
This one, yes, yes, yes! Woo! Yes, 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 yes! Woo! Please, that's not what I wanted!
Teleporters! Okay then. 22nd October, 9:36 a.m. Sholden Suite. What's up, everybody? It's CS Nazo, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney 2 streams. Runo, are you listening? Oh, sorry. What was that, Iris? What's the matter with you? You've been miles away all morning. Didn't you like what I cooked for breakfast? No, that's not it at all. What were we talking about again? Today's paper! It's full of news about the Great Exhibition again! Ah, yes, the Great Exhibition. I'd like to go sometime. You're really not your usual self today. You seem very down. Don't you agree, Hurley? Did he sell his violin again? Did you say something, Iris? Oh gosh, you're even more down! Well, when did you arrive, Mr. Naruto? I've been here for about half an hour already. We had breakfast together. What? Why did you mention it before? I, thought you might have known I was here, you know, because breakfast? Iris is quite right. You're clearly lacking in vim. So much so that I didn't notice your presence. Thanks. Of course, I can introduce the reason perfectly well with some simple observations. What? Let's see. Yes. For example, your tousled hair this morning with all its unruly spikes. Clearly, it can be deduced, therefore, that... let me stop you there, Mr. Sholmes, because I think I can see where this is going. My hair always looks like this. It always has. Ever since we first met, in fact. Ever since I was born, in fact, since that's how anime hair works. Oh, really? How interesting. It just doesn't look like a haircut as such, I suppose. Thanks again. It crossed my mind recently that it's been 6 months now. 6 months? Since I was forbidden from walking in court. So I've been wondering how much longer I'm going to be banned. Oh, well, that would explain why you seem rather glum. Don't you agree, Hurley? Oh, there he goes again. Did you say something, Iris? Ah, back to moping. What's the matter with Mr. Sholmes today? He seems even more down in the dumps than me. I just realized... Hold on. I wasn't paying attention to the actual date. What was the date again? Can I go up that far? Scroll. Oh, here we go. October, okay. I know, and the Great Exhibition is open. You'd think you'd be excited. Oh, why don't we all go see it together? I want to, of course I do, but I can't. Not for the time being. Why not? Why not? Why not? Because I'm a great detective after all. One second, I need to... There we go. So you're embroiled in some tricky case that you can't be distracted from, is that it? I don't remember hearing that you're working on a case, Hurley. I suppose I should try to find out what's going on. Converse. Event 6 months ago. Half a year ago now, I took on the defense of a young girl in a trial heard at the Old Bailey. What at first seemed like a simple case of murder that took place at a London pawnbrokery turned out to be one part of a much more far-reaching plot that involved the British government. During the course of the trial, it was found that I made an unavoidable, yet at the same time, unforgivable mistake. Words fail me. Words fail. I can't get the voice. Words fail me. The situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord? Why are you wearing that? This is the first game. You shouldn't have that yet. I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial. Of course, my lord. In the end, I had my right to represent people in court revoked. I was told I had to spend my time in research and study, so that's what I've been doing. You have, haven't you, Bruno? Reading all those big fat tomes about British law up in your room and the notes about Sholm's old case? Brewing Iris's special blends of tea, fetching my daily bread for me? You've become something of a manservant around here. Start on the silverware next, Master Naruhodo. Well, I'm thinking of going to ask the powers that be to reconsider. Specifically Lord Strongheart at the British Supreme Court on Whitehall. Lord Strongheart? Ah, the delightful Lord Chief Justice? Not my favorite fellow. He's not mine either, but he's the man I have to talk to. He's the only one who can grant permission for me to start working in the courts again. I came to Britain to become the best lawyer I could, and I can't do that just sitting around here. The Great Exhibition. The whole of London has been swept up in this great exhibition, hasn't it? The most advanced science and the most modern technology, the finest works of art and feats of engineering. For the next 6 months, our capital will be showcasing these things, and the world will be watching. Oh, do you think, do you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to look down on London from one of those lovely balloons. Look down on... Do you mean those things fly? Yes, of course! They fly high in the sky and don't even need wings to do it! All you need is hot air! But how? How does hot air have anything to do with flying? It makes no sense! I can't understand it at all. That's true, a lot of new scientific discoveries, most people can't understand them at first. But in 100 years' time, all these things will just be common knowledge. I suppose they might be. Mind you, some of the science being demonstrated seems very questionable. Something went wrong on the open experimentation stage yesterday, apparently. There was a huge explosion. Still, I wish I'd seen it through. I'd love to see how bad some of these scam experiments really are, says the innocent 10-year-old girl. See here, every page of this paper carries some article or other about the Great Exhibition. But the brighter things shine. The brighter things shine, the darker the shadows that are cast behind them. Personally, I find myself drawn to the darkness, to the impenetrable. That is my proper atmosphere. The Great Exhibition newspaper has been entered into the court record. Is this just gonna be a paper again that turned out to be a fucking 3D image in court? No, it's a 3D image now. Let's see what it says. Every article on the front page is news about the Great Exhibition. Public experiments to demonstrate brand new scientific ideas, cultural exhibitions from around the globe, it's also positive and hopeful about the coming century. We must all go see it properly before too long. Now, what's on the back page? Something about a lost cat. So many glowing reports about the great exhibition and everything that's going on there. On this rather gloomy looking one, that is. What? Wait, what? What's the matter, Runo? The Reaper attacked? That's Lord Van Zieks! This must be what Mr. Scholz was talking about. Does he know any more, I wonder? That's probably going to be added to the conversation topics. Yep, there it is. Are you investigating a particularly tricky case at the moment, Mr. Scholz? You could say that, I suppose. Nothing more to add? That's not like you. What sort of case is it? Shh! Quiet, Mr. Naruto! We must not discuss it here. You never know who might be listening. You're acting very strange, Hurley. What do you mean, Iris? Well, usually, the more mysterious and complicated a case is, the better Hurley's mood. Ah! Is it really a case that's bothering you? Iris, please! You mustn't exercise your astute powers of observation and deduction on me without invitation. Remember what I always say. Put yourself in the shoes of the individual about whom you're making deductions. You say that, do you? You, Mr. Scholz? Never mind. Once you've had a cup of tea, I must make my way at once to the crime scene. That was a deep sigh. The Reaper attacked. It says in the paper that Lord Van Zieks was attacked. That's terrible. You know the legend of the Reaper of the Bailey, of course, don't you? Only too well, in fact. Yes, Prospector Barrick von Zieks. Did I call him Prospector? I'm sorry, Prosecutor. They say that if the Reaper is the prosecutor in a case, there's no salvation for whoever's in the dock. Even if the defendant is found not guilty. Once the Reaper has someone in his sights, one way or another, that person's time left on this earth will be short. London's finest rogues always find ways around the law. They'll stop at nothing to secure an acquittal at trial. Falsifying evidence, paying sham witnesses, threatening jurors, bribing judges. But even such devious tactics as these cannot save them from the hand of the Reaper. As you've experienced yourself, haven't you, Mr. Naruto? Yes, I've seen the Reaper's retribution at work. Many of these criminal rogues are reckless and quite unafraid to die. If a leader among their fraternity is seen to have been taken by the Reaper, retaliation like this does occur. Really, the capital has a never-ending supply of such scoundrels. So, do you mean Lord Van Zieks has been attacked like this before? This isn't the first time? He's quite an accomplished combatant, you know. He doesn't take these attacks lying down. Although, it seems that his assailants were armed with guns this time. Oh my goodness, is he alright then? Is Lord Van Zieks hurt? My dear fellow, how on earth would I know? Well, in this article here it says, as to what of Lord Van Zieks and his condition, all will be revealed in tomorrow's morning edition. Ah, I see. Well, we shall have to be patient. No, I can't wait until tomorrow. In that case, you shall have to inquire with somebody in the know. But who? Lord Strongheart, perhaps? Well, I must be leaving now. Yes, understood. See you later, Mr. Scholz. Ha! You really are a shameless liar sometimes, my dear fellow. What? You seek to put me off my guard and follow me, don't you? Well, you would be wasting your time. The thought hadn't crossed my mind. Now I am wondering where you're going. Well then, see you later indeed. Listening to him, he's still laughing on his way out the door. Okay, then. All right, Bruno, let's get going. Oh, Iris, what are you wearing? I've got change. I've got change to go to the Great Exhibition. You're going to take me. What? But I was just about to go to the Supreme Court. Oh, well, that sounds fun too. You're going to take me there then. All right, fine. Just lower that weapon, would you? Of course. And after the Supreme Court, then we'll go to see the Great Exhibition. Birds! 22nd of October, British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice Office. It's been about 6 months now since I was last here, but some things never change, like the sense of foreboding I always seem to feel in this place. It doesn't seem to be bothering Iris at all, though. She's happily reading over there. Oh, I love this place! I always find so many interesting books here! Of course, I was forgetting that you've been here before. The time we came here 6 months ago. When Susanoo-san was given the news that she was to return to Japan. Ah, I understand you wish to speak with me. I don't remember what voice I gave this guy. Oh, Lord Strongheart, I trust you've been keeping well? Let's see. Since you arrived and requested an audience, it's been 4 hours, 32 minutes, and 26 seconds. I've kept you waiting a while. My apologies. Oh, no, not at all. I like nothing more than standing around staring into space. Good to know. Good to know that doesn't appear to bother him at all. Mail Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of London. He's the man who allowed me to start practicing as a defense lawyer when I arrived in Britain as a student. You need only savor the air for a moment in this grand office to understand his preeminent status. As you will be aware, the Great Exhibition of London is now underway at last. We're extremely busy as a result, policing the grounds, guarding the new technologies, dealing with petty crime. And furthermore, as of next month, we shall open the International Forensic Science Symposium. I can't believe I said that all in one go. Oh, I have not heard about that. Investigating authorities from 40 countries around the globe will be taking part, including from your own land. Forensic science is the future. The world must embrace it. As we're hosting we're the hosting nation, I have much to do, and it is my highest priority. If others must wait for my attention as a result, so be it. Well, it's nice to know where I stand. So, you wish to consult with me? Of course, I can very well imagine what this is about. Thank you for agreeing to this meeting, my lord. I want to be allowed to start working as a defense lawyer again in court. That's what brought me here today. But actually, there's something else playing in my mind as it's happening. Bruno, just take a deep breath and come out with it. Converse, permission to work. I actually came here today to ask for your permission. Go on. 6 months ago, my right to work in court as a lawyer was revoked, and I was told to spend my time studying. Obviously, I'm very sorry for what happened, but the thing is, it made me understand what it really means to defend somebody under the rules of a foreign justice system. And I desperately want to have another go. Please, permit me to enter the courtroom again. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? Here comes. I'm sure you haven't forgotten your position here, have you? At best, you are a substitute for your compatriots. This was never your intended role. Well, that's true. The Japanese government actually sent my best friend on the study tour, not me. It should have been Kazuma. He was so determined to bring change to our justice system at home. That was his calling. If that tragic accident hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here in this office now. Mr. Atsuki was my best friend, you see. That's why I can't leave it unfinished. I had to fulfill his calling for him. His calling, you see. Has it never occurred to you that perhaps you know nothing of his true calling? Sorry? The mission with which that young law student was charged, do you suppose, what do you suppose it really was? What do you mean? Mission? He's not making any sense. Never mind. I've read all the reports you submitted over the past 6 months. It's clear to me that you regret your actions and have been studiously obeying your revised instructions. Do you mean? As of this moment, I reinstate your license to practice law here in Great Britain. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's wonderful news, Bruno! In fact, I believe I have the perfect case to mark your comeback. A curious affair. You'll consider it, I hope? Of course! Please tell me more! A curious affair. You described it as a curious affair. Yes, that's right. I believe it was reported in the press. Are you aware that there was a serious accident at the Great Exhibition yesterday? Oh, no. Yes, I read about it. A professor from Germany tried to carry out a crazy experiment. Let me see. How was it described? Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, I think? Teleportation. Instantaneous kinesis? As in moving things with a click of the fingers? Excuse me. That's right! It's just what my herbal blends need! A dash of devil-may-care! Whatever the serious accident was exactly, it's clearly captured Iris' imagination. It's an unfortunate business. A large explosion engulfed the public experimentation stage, and a man lost his life. A certain Mr. Odie Osman. Okay, Odie Osman. An investor and a well-known figure in society. A large explosion? A man died? The man responsible for the experiment was Professor Albert Harebrain. He was detained immediately after the incident and is due to appear in court tomorrow. On the charge of murder. What? Murder? If you intend to take on his defense, you should hurry to meet with him at the prison. There is very little time for you to carry out any kind of investigation. A great exhibition? A scientific experiment gone wrong? And murder? I feel out of death before I've even started. Still. We should go to the prison straight away then and try to meet with his German professor. Don't you think? Definitely. Oh yes, one more thing about the case. There's a connection with our mutual acquaintance, the Reaper. Oh! With Lord Van Zieks? How? I guess I have to ask about the Forensic Science Symposium first. All sorts of conferences have been taking place around the world to coincide with the Great Exhibition. And next month, the largest and most important of them will take place at last. The International Forensic Science Symposium. It does seem as though criminal investigation needs to embrace scientific methods, doesn't it? Exactly! Ah! London, the global epicenter of culture, science, and wealth, now has a population exceeding 6 million. Sadly, crime in the capital is growing at a similarly startling rate. So it's imperative that we use the latest scientific methods to investigate and resolve cases as efficiently as possible. Which is what's known as forensic science, isn't it? Exactly! The future of policing! Ah! Regrettably, however, Britain is currently dragging its feet when it comes to the adoption of forensic methods. Oh dear, that's alarming. Exactly! It's extremely alarming! Ah! If I were Her Majesty's Attorney General, you can be sure the numbers of crimes committed and resolved in London would be very different to the current figures. And I can cite 12 solid arguments and 223 individual reasons to support my claim. Sorry? By way of apology for keeping you waiting earlier, I shall detail everyone now. What? Oh, how fascinating! I don't feel like doing that. It all began 15 years ago. I was... And that more or less sums up my feelings on the matter, in the simplest of terms, of course. Essentially, to formally establish a forensic investigation division within Scotland Yard. That is my mission! Oh, right. Yes, that's wonderful. Exactly. Wonderful is precisely what it will be. Yeah, she tuned out a while ago. Although she gets an excuse, she's 10. Iris isn't paying any attention at all. She's got her nose in another book now. Oh, is it over? Did you learn anything useful? No! Actually, no, I think I've learned Simlish. I actually drifted off for the most part. He's surprisingly ardent about forensic science. This? Oh, that reminds me. Have you seen this? The reports of the overwhelming success of the Great Exhibition? Of course! No, not that. The story on the back page. What story? Reaper attacks. Ah, that. You've enjoyed some victories in court against my #1 prosecutor, have you not? Poor Mr. Reaper. What happened to him? He wasn't killed, was he? There's no need for concern. Lord Van Zieks would not be so easily dispatched, I assume. Can you tell us what happened? I'd really love to know. Very well. If it interests you. It does, strangely. Van Zieks' condition. Fortunately, Lord Van Zieks emerged from the attack unscathed. Street ruffians are no match for that man. He's a very capable fighter. But that's incredible! They were armed with guns! How was he attacked, though? Do we know? It's related to events that occurred a month ago. A leader of one of the capital's criminal organizations was indicted and prosecuted by Van Zieks. Strange that he suddenly decided to appear without Ryunosuke there, since it was believed he was the reason he returned to the courts. But the man was acquitted. I have no doubt large sums of money were involved behind the scenes. Large sums of money? A deplorable situation. Members of the jury were bribed, it seems. However, despite winning his freedom, the man in question met a dramatic end yesterday. But you're not suggesting that was the work of the Reaper, surely? The victim's henchmen certainly seemed to think so. He was a man by the name of Asman. Mr. Odie Asman. Did you say Asman? That's the man who died in the big explosion at the Great Exhibition. Yes, known publicly as an investor, but in reality, the head of a significant criminal organization. Unbelievable. I wondered, could I ask you something, Lord Strongheart? Try me. Why would you use Lord Van Zieks as a prosecutor? All the criminals who manage to get off in court then meet with mysterious ends outside the courtroom. And fearful of that fate, they seek to strike at Lord Van Zieks first. I know there's no evidence that he actually is the Reaper in that sense, but still, something's clearly going on here. I have Van Zieks work for the prosecution service for two reasons. Firstly, the man is the best prosecutor in the capital, bar none. Secondly, any deaths of criminals that have occurred outside the courtroom following his trials are nothing to do with him. But that doesn't make sense. How can you explain the way so many have died if not by someone's hands? Van Zieks may have earned himself the moniker of the Reaper, but he is no killer. So we will continue to prosecute on behalf of the Crown. Unless he wishes otherwise, of course. Well, I must be leaving for my next engagement. I'm already 11 hours and 16 minutes late. My colleagues may be starting to fidget. 11 hours late? That's quite something. That meeting has already started when I arrived back here for this engagement with you. So lateness was inevitable. Time stops for no man. I'm sure it stopped for me during those 12 solid arguments and 223 reasons. Oh yes, where would I find Lord Van Zieks now? I would assume he's at his office. Right, I'll go and ask him about the attack in person. I want to get this straight from the horse's mouth. Away with you now. I'm leaving Professor Harebrain's defense entirely in your hands. Of course, yes. Thank you very much, my lord. Honestly, it just kind of seems like an accident, really. The new location has been added. Excuse me, we're yawning. 22nd of October. Prosecutor's office. Oh, so this is the legendary Reaper's office. Yes, it would appear so. It sends chills down your spine, doesn't it? What an amazingly deathly atmosphere. Oh, is that? That hooded figure was so still, I hadn't noticed his or her presence. I wonder who it is. I've managed to learn how to stand so perfectly still that I am near impresentable to the eye. I don't remember what the exact quote was, but it was Drax. Drax the Destroyer standing perfectly still. Hi Drax, how you doing? What are you doing here? Ah! Wait, are you not the guy in the... Okay. He's as unwelcoming as I thought he'd be. Actually, maybe even more so. Oh, I'm glad to see you're well. I am. So, who's the person over by the wall being punished or something? I'm sorry. Who's the person over by the wall being punished for something or other? No punishment is taking place here. Oh. That's my apprentice, and he's sitting there of his own free will. I didn't know you had an apprentice. Shouldn't his hands be, like, on the table then? It's just... That has to be exhausting. Must be the same person who was pictured in the newspaper. He's very able in combat, a requisite skill for any under my tutelage. Are you referring to the attack on the Reaper that was reported in the papers? The Reaper? I'd be interested to know the Reaper's true identity myself, assuming, that is, such a fabled fiend genuinely inhabits our great courtrooms. Last night's attack. Lord Strongheart said that the assault last night was some sort of revenge attack? True. Carried out by henchmen of Odie Asmund's criminal organization. The investigation meant their arrests were imminent. Presumably, some hope to kill me before that happened. 1 second, let me take care of this. Odie Asmund. He's always masqueraded as one of London's most powerful financiers, a global investor. But his enormous wealth came to him by underhanded means, via his criminal activities. And he used that money to buy himself a verdict of not guilty when he found himself in court, didn't he? Being prosecuted by you, Mr. Reaper. But the man got his comeuppance in the end. Yesterday, in fact. In extraordinary circumstances, It was a most unusual cause of death. Yeah, explosion by some stupid teleportation experiment. Instant transmission, okay. I know about that. It was super high voltage instantaneous kinesis gone wrong. How do I say these weird jumbles of words in one take, but I struggle on the word the? Mr. Asman died when the demonstration on the public experimentation stage ended in an enormous eruption explosion. Correct. And you think I have some kind of divine ability to cause an accident like that to happen, do you? Well, no, that does seem a little far-fetched. If this man really is the fabled Reaper, then he has to be innocent of this particular death, at least. It's strange how this was worked out, isn't it, Bruno? I mean, what with you taking on the professor's defense for the trial tomorrow? What? You're going to be defending him? Oh, yes, that's right. Though I barely know the man's name yet, to be honest. Albert. Albert Harebrain. That's right. Do you know him by any chance? Of course. He's a contemporary of mine. We were at university together. Your... What? Your contemporary? I understood that Professor Harebrain was from Germany, though. Harebrain's from a respectable British family. After graduating from the University of London, he moved to Germany to carry out research, that's all. So you were students together? I was in the faculty of law, of course, and he in science, so our paths rarely crossed. But curiously, we got along, though I've not met him since my university days. I certainly didn't expect our next encounter to take this form. And with you of all people representing him. Only if I make it out of this office alive. He's actually been charged with murder, it seems. Yes, I know. Because the prosecution will be handled by me. By you? But you made it sound as if you and the professor had been friends. We are friends, it's true. Then why would you do this? If the Reaper is the prosecutor, there's nothing anyone can do to save him. He's doomed. What's Lord Van Zeek's thinking? The Reaper's identity. What do you mean by what you said before? If you'd like to know the Reaper's true identity, does that mean... I'm a crown prosecutor and a mortal like any other. I'm no demigod. But they've all died, haven't they? The people you've prosecuted, I mean? Whether or not the trial ended in a conviction or an acquittal? Those I prosecute are the vilest wretches of our society. People who without question deserve to be found guilty. The world is a better place without them. But that's not true, Mr. Natsume. For example, he wasn't a vile wretch at all. Nor was Ginny. Nor was... Yeah, Genie. Genie? That's Aladdin. I can't think of any other way to pronounce that right now. In fact, she's never worked... She's ever so hard working now. I can't deny that since I encountered you, things have taken a turn. But the point is this. If any of those vile wretches that escaped justice subsequently died in mysterious circumstances, it was at the hand of their own kind. It's not my work. Lord Strongheart said the same. He believed you're not involved in any way. But you were attacked by those ruffians because they believe it's true. The fact is, since people started to call me the Reaper of the Bailey, the number of serious crimes in the capital has dropped substantially. Oh! It would appear that even the most hardened criminals can be made fearful for their lives. Do you mean to say... I mean to say that if my pseudonym serves a useful purpose, I adopt it gladly and with honor. But it's putting you in danger. You could be killed. If that is my fate, let God decide. Lord Van Zieks. Lord Van Zieks, about the article in this paper. Ah, yes, it seems there was a reporter nearby when that little skirmish took place. I had no idea I'd been photographed. It was careless of me. It looks as though it was taken after the people who who attacked you had run away, though. Rest assured, the police have already apprehended every last one of them. But there's someone else fighting alongside you, it seems. And I think it's the same man who's sitting over there as we speak, isn't it? Actually, let me take a look. Yeah, it's just them holding swords. Lord Van Zieks and compatriot cornered. Ruffians aim to intimidate a man of justice. I'm sorry, what does that say? King Christian VIII reverses ruffling pulling awards prize to Michela? As I mentioned already, he's my apprentice. Perhaps you could tell us a little more about him? Your apprentice. He is in my tutelage to become a prosecutor. So you could say he's my apprentice, I suppose. Ah! Like you are to Hurley then, Runo. I don't remember taking an apprenticeship with a great detective. He's currently compiling a report about last night's attack. It looks like he's wearing some kind of mask? On Lord Strongheart's orders. Nobody knows the man's face, or indeed his identity. But why would you agree to take on such a clearly suspicious individual? Lord Strongheart's orders again. He's not one for meaningless follies. There will be a good reason for his actions. I hope you're right. Oh, he's gotten up. I see bats. I just noticed the bats. Hi, Black Eyes. Ah! The task is complete? Good. In that case, you can collate all the briefs. Yeah, there are bats in this room. Nice to meet you? And he walks away. No, he's back on the desk. That's a tiny ass desk. Get him a proper table. I'm not saying something extravagant. A fucking table and a chair at least. That's like almost insulting. No, that is insulting actually. That was really strange though. I've never met the man before. I didn't even know he existed, and yet somehow it didn't feel like our first encounter. Don't bother trying to converse with him. He says nothing to anybody from outside this office. Lord Strongheart has strictly forbidden it. Oh, I see. Why are you so interested in my apprentice anyway? Oh no, I mean, sorry, I didn't mean to... The way he stood there so casually, yet with that flawless posture. It couldn't be. We're not thinking it's Kazuma, right? Ah, yes, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. Oh, what's that? That Nipponese man, is he faring well? Sorry? The one arrested twice in succession 6 months ago, with the stoop and the mustache and the jitters. Ah, Mr. Natsume, you mean? I'm not sure he'd be very pleased to find out you identified him from that list, Runo. He's fine, thank you. In fact, I received a letter from him by international post only the other day. I see. Well, I think we can end our discussion there, don't you? There's little time left before tomorrow's trial. I advise you to spend it investigating the case. Yes, thank you for the advice, and for the conversation. I can't believe he's asking after Soseki-san, after a Nipponese. I'm not sure whether to feel happy about that or worried. I never imagined that Mr. Reaper would be friends with a mad scientist, did you? That's a turn up for the books. A mad scientist? Ah, you mean Professor Hairbrain? Yeah, I see the joke. I don't care. Yes, it might be worth quizzing the professor about his relationship with Lord Van Zieks, I think. He's still here. Let's see. Okay, well, I can't go to the Great Exhibition yet, so let's go to the prison and talk to our client. There he is. 22nd of October, local prison, cell 11. The warden said cell 11. That's this one. Oh, there's someone curled up in a ball in the back corner, look! What's his name again? Professor Albert Hairbrain, wasn't it? Excuse me, Professor Hairbrain? Who are you? I didn't get a chance to read that. Hold on. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer. A lawyer? Was it something I said? A lawyer, you say? Would you be here about the experiment? Are you going to defend my hypothesis? Your hypothesis? Sorry, I don't... Yesterday's demonstration! That magnificent demonstration was... It was an out-and-out success by anyone's calculations! I'm sorry? But despite that... No one listens! No lawyer believes in the science! When it's explained, they all leave at high velocity! Now is probably not a good time to mention that your zeal made my concentration leave for a while too. Yesterday's demonstration. You mentioned the demonstration yesterday? The papers have called it a spectacular failure. After all, a man died in the explosion, didn't he? Ah! Yes, you could interpret the results that way if you really wanted to. Well, I suppose in the strictest sense, the experiment was a failure, but at the same time it was a great success. You've lost me. I saw with my own eyes, right there in front of me, Mr. Asman was spontaneously disassembled by an explosion! Until then, everything was going exactly as my calculations had predicted. At that point, he should have been beamed to the Crystal Tower by instantaneous kinesis. However, the machine exploded and Mr. Asman and in fact I'm sorry. The machine exploded and Mr. Asman in fact perished? Yes, I can't deny that part of the experiment was a failure. So what you're really saying is, the large explosion that killed Mr. Asman was an accident, correct? But the bigwigs have arrested you on suspicion of murder. I was responsible for a man's death. That is the immutable truth here. And for that, I wish to be punished at once. But... Murder? Never in a million years! It was an accident, simply an accident! I see. Billy and I were talking this morning, you know. He said the situation would change completely depending on whether or not it was treated as an accident or murder. How exactly? Well, if it really was an accident, then the professor's machine would be kept in protective custody. On what grounds? Yes, it's newly established here in Britain, the Special Suspension for Scientific Equipment Act. That one passed me by. But if the case is treated as murder, then they'll say then they'll say my machine was the murder weapon, and they'll be able to pour over it as much as they like. If they examine it in detail, they'll find out how it's made, and then they'll be able to copy my idea. My precious hypothesis will be stolen. The machine must be protected from that at all costs. That's why it's imperative this whole incident is shown to have been an accident in tomorrow's trial. Ah, I see now. Instantaneous kinesis. So in short, there was a terrible accident at the Great Exhibition Showgrounds yesterday. Yes! Or rather, no, the devil is in the details. Strictly speaking, there was a terrible explosion! I've just given him Natsume's voice, that works. You were demonstrating super high voltage I had it. Instantaneous kinesis, weren't you? How fascinating! Humans, like all matter, are made up of particles that are held together by electrical bonds. So it must be possible using a sufficiently high voltage to break through those bonds and beat the particles through space. That's in a nutshell my idea, you see? That's my amazing hypothesis! Gosh, that's unimaginably high-level science. Oh, but dare to imagine it, dare to dream of such incredible technology! Just think, one moment I could be here in this cell, and the next, I could be at the Great Exhibition again! Well, yes, that would be incredible. And the next, in the mere blink of an eye, I could be at a great Parisian theater, say. The possibilities are endless! The whole of our vast planet would be within reach! So no more hiding in wardrobes and rocky seas for 50 days? I don't really see it like that. What do you mean, Iris? Well, if you could travel anywhere in the world instantly, the planet wouldn't really seem vast anymore, would it? I think it would feel like it had shrunk. My word, that's exactly right! What are the implications? What does this mean? Oops, I got Professor Bunny Brain really worried by the look of it. Clearly this is yet another case of just because you can doesn't mean you should, I suppose. The point is, my calculations are flawless! The science works! But without a practical demonstration, it means nothing! And that's always a fly in the ointment! Because practical demonstrations cost a lot of money. Money that young scientists like you don't have. That's exactly it, yes! Hurley's always complaining about it. He says the government should invest more in science. Well, anyway, I bumped into him at the right time. I met the well-known investor, Mr. Assman. The victim who died in yesterday's terrible accident, you mean? The Reaper's varsity years. I understand Lord Van Zieks is a friend of yours from your university days. Yes, that's right! He was studying law whilst I was studying science! What was he like back then? A good question. Unassuming, gentlemanly, and all around nice fellow, really. Sorry, I think you misheard me. I'm talking about the cold-hearted, merciless prosecutor, Barak Van Zieks. What was he like when he was at university? Talk about a leading question, Bruno. As I said, an unassuming and extremely pleasant gentleman. After all, he is the little darling of the Van Zieks family, with all its great aristocratic origins. I didn't realize he had such he had quite such a noble blood. Little darling? It was a bit of a shock when I came back to Britain and learned what he'd become. The Reaper of the Bailey, no less. Yes, that's right. I did hear, though, that there was a very big event in his life that completely changed him after graduation. Really? Really? What sort of event? I'm sorry, but I don't know anymore. I wasn't in the country at the time. I was in Germany already. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the wrong voice. I wasn't in the country at the time. I was in Germany already. Oh, yes, of course. If he's heard all about the Reaper, I really don't have the heart to tell him that Lord Van Zieks will be the prosecutor in court tomorrow. The victim. The full name of the man who died in yesterday's accident was Mr. Odie Asman, wasn't it? What exactly was your relationship with the man? He first visited me in my laboratory in Germany a year ago now. He said he wanted to invest in my immaculate hypothesis. I thank my lucky stars. I see. So you hadn't really known each other until then? Money for scientific research. I'm so envious. As far as I'm concerned, the man was an angel. Oh, really? An archangel, even. He was prepared to fund a practical demonstration of my hypothesis for presentation at the Great Exhibition. And if that went well, I could expect additional financial support for my research from the British government. Mr. Osman provided me with the money and an exceptional engineer. He produced a machine to my precise specifications. But then your dreams were blown to dust in one enormous explosion. As you can see, I owed everything to Mr. Osman. I would never even have thought of taking the man's life. Well, he seems genuine enough. I don't think he's lying. So, Professor, let me just make absolutely sure I've understood you properly. The huge explosion that occurred yesterday, that was an accident, you're saying? You had no intention to harm the victim, who was, in fact, the sole investor in your work. Is that correct? As correct as 2 squared is 4, I swear it! Yes, it is true that the man perished in a machine of my invention. So I know that I am far from blameless in all this, but still! I would never use my discoveries, my inventions to take a person's life, not in a centillion years! I'm a man of science! It's all I know! You have to believe me, please! Do you believe me? Do you believe in my hypothesis? Science is the pursuit of truth, you know. I've always believed that all my life. I'm afraid I don't know much about science or your theories, but I do believe you, and I will fight to prove your innocence with all my might. I'm a man of the law. It's all I know. You have to believe me, please. When I went to live in Germany after I graduated, I learned something very important. Nationality, class, lineage, none of that matters. As long as you try your hardest, you can achieve anything. Thank you for that, Professor. And thank you in advance for defending me in court tomorrow. Defending me tomorrow in court. All right, Bruno, it's time. Time to visit the Great Exhibition. Sorry? Well, that's where the incident happened, isn't it? Yes, I suppose that's true. Time to investigate at last. To the experimentation stage. Second October, the Great Exhibition grounds, foot of the Crystal Tower. I can see the remnants of an explosion. The showgrounds are a little too big for my liking. We've been walking around in dense crowds for 2 hours now, and I felt myself swooning 3 times. There are a lot of people, aren't there? I've almost been trodden on 3 times, too. Be careful, won't you, Iris? Don't let go of my hand. We finally made it through the throngs, though, by the look of it. Here we are underneath the public experimentation stage where the explosion happened yesterday. What's that? I can hear voices from up on the stage. It sounds like an argument. Right, I've had it with you this time. I warned you. I'll arrest you in a minute. What are these two doing up here? And you! Why do you still have a job after what you did? Oh yeah? Go on then, Inspector. Give it a shot. You ain't got no evidence, and you know it. Wait, I know those voices. You've got a chicken in the mouth on your young lady, but about a night in the cell to teach you some manners. Just try it, I dare you. If you want that bag of chips rammed down your throat. Yoo-hoo! Rexy! What are you doing up there? Wait, oh, they're up. Oh, okay, they're up there, not by the Crystal Tower. Got it. Ah! Ah! It's you! Yeah, you're here! You're here! Here you are! Your ladyship! How are you, your ladyship? I do hope you're well, your ladyship. Does that make her 3 times a lady? I'm not well at all. It's far too busy everywhere. I wanted to ride in a balloon, but there was a 3-hour queue. Unbelievable! I'll go have a word for you at once, your ladyship. You'll be flying as high as a kite knows how once I pull some strings for you. Tobias Gregson, an inspector at Scotland Yard. Until recently, he was suspended from duty, but it would appear he's back in action. He's actually quite well known, appearing as he does in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And for that reason, he can't say a word of wrong to the story's author, Iris. But there are limits, surely. Or there should be. Watch it, Sunshine! Sorry? What gives that? Don't tell me you're on this case. Yes, I'm acting for the defense. So we're here to investigate. Me. That's the situation, isn't it? Is it really that troubling? Just a meaningless flybulb? Is that all you got? Is she still a pickpocket girl after everything you went through? You're a lawyer, ain't you? You could stand to carry a bit more copper around in your pockets, Mr. Naruto. What? Hey! That's my last bit of spending money, that is. You can have it back, but I'll just have to charge you for all the bother. 3 bob. This is Gina Lestrade, a pickpocket or diver, born and bred in the East End of London. In the case that led to my own suspension 6 months ago. This is the young girl I was defending in court. What's your problem, Mayodo? Diver? Pickpocket? What's with all the name calling? You want a bag of chips rammed down your throat and all, do ya? I thought you were proud to be a diver, Gina. You were just arguing with Inspector Gregson about it, weren't you? I assumed you'd been up there, up to your usual tricks here at the showground. I ain't no way to talk to a lady, Odo. Half a year's a long time. People can change. I'm an apprentice now, learning to be a Scotland Yard detective. So you'll have to call me what everyone else does. It's Inspector Lestrade now. Hey, good for you. Good to know you're not pickpocketing anymore. Inspector? That badge is homemade, surely. The Inspector pod isn't entirely accurate. No one calls it that. For what it's worth, anyway. Investigating is off the cards for all of us. What's that supposed to mean? Right, well, I'll be back up top. You hold the fort down here, alright? Right, sir. This raises a lot of questions. About Gina. Yeah, I want to learn about this. It was 8 months ago now that I first encountered Gina, in connection with a case I was working on. At the time, she was living in the East End with a group of other orphans. She helped all of them survive by pickpocketing, but then she got embroiled in a murder. I had a lot of time to think in prison. I realized I couldn't go on like I was, but diving weren't working out. Oh, I'm so pleased to hear, Jeannie. Well done! So, you went from being a pickpocket to a detective? You got it! Good, ain't it? Inspector Lestrade! Sounds like something out of a book, eh? Talk about a sea change. And then there's Iris's old man to think about. Iris's father? You mean... Yeah, I promised her, didn't I? I said I'd get all the police forces around the world to pull out all the stops looking for him. Just a small promise then, nothing serious. Oh, Jeannie, you're so sweet. So anyway, that's how I came in, that's how come I had to go at the test for Scotland Yard. Only trouble is, I don't read so well, do I? Just a small problem, nothing serious. And that's when Hurley approached Gregsy and asked for help. So the inspector said he'd take full responsibility for Jeannie and made her a sort of apprentice. That was very magnanimous of Inspector Gregson, and brave. Well, you know Hurley. He enjoys finding ways to make people do what he wants. A great detective likes digging for dirt, in other words. So the long and short of it is, if you've got questions about the case, you can ask Inspector Lestrade. Good to know. Right then, Inspector. Actually, there's still a big mystery surrounding Gina, isn't there? Oh, what, Runa, what? Well, 6 months ago, Gina was the defendant in a trial prosecuted by the Reaper. A trial in which she was found not guilty, and yet here she still is. Come on! You're not still on about that, are you? The Legend of the Reaper or whatever it's called? Oh, you don't have to worry, Odo. You're gonna die soon, aren't you? If I didn't half worry, there probably wouldn't be a lot of you left. It's like I told you before, isn't it? The Reaper's kind of like him upstairs, so he knows what I'm like on the inside. That I ain't really done nothing wrong. Nothing wrong might be stretching a point. What about Mr. Natsume in Japan? He's perfectly fine, isn't he? Well, that's true. Perhaps the Reaper is more discerning than I thought. Exactly! So I ain't worried. I'm totally fine. Yesterday's incident. Oh, it was out of this world, it was. A brainy bloke pulled a bunch of levers on his machine and suddenly it started blowing smoke. It sounded like he had no idea what he was doing when he was running the experiment. What's this? What's going on? Okay, I don't know how to change the bit rate. One second. I'm gonna hold on one second. I'm gonna... Well, it seems fine now. The brainy bloke pulled a bunch of levers on his machine and suddenly it started blowing smoke. Then it just went pop. I ain't seen a better experiment here yet. Sorry? You mean you saw Genie with your own eyes? Yeah, of course. The boss is in charge here, ain't he? Of keeping everything running smooth, I mean. The boss being Inspector Gregson, I suppose. That's going to take some getting used to. So all I have to say is that I'm on duty and I can do whatever I want to. Get this! I was up in one of them flying balloons when it happened, watching it from above! No! You're so lucky, Genie! Maybe I should join Scotland Yard too. Yeah, do it! You know how to put the boss in his place already, right, Iris? You have no trouble at all. Then it's settled. When do I start? No, you can't join Scotland Yard, Iris. We'll see. Anyway, what I don't understand is this. If the machine exploded so spectacularly, how could Professor Bunnybrain still be claiming that this experiment was a success? Oh, right. Well, it was a success, in a way. It was? How could it have been? Because he was torn apart! Literally, in the explanation, it says that his very molecules would be torn apart and reassembled somewhere else. And while the first part of that is true, his molecules have been torn apart, the reassembled part, not so much. Successful experiment? Surely after the whole machine blew up, no one could call the experiment a success. It's like I said, it did sort of work. I mean, yeah, there was a load of smoke and all that whooping great bang. But where do you think they found the victim's body, eh? In the Crystal Tower over there, or at least part of it. What? In the tower? You can see it for yourself, can't you? Up there above the scaffold? Oh! For all the broken glass, you mean? Yeah, the cage where the victim got in to start with really did get beamed through the air or whatever and landed all the way over there. Or it got launched through the air. So, you see, it did kind of work, didn't it? What? I don't believe it. It didn't get beamed through the air. It got I don't even need to do an experimenting to know it got launched. I mean, I don't get the ins and outs of it, but anything's possible, right? With science? Oh, I tell you what, you can have this. It's a part of the experiment that they drew up at Scotland Yard. Are you sure? Yeah, go on. I got 3 bob off you before, so fair's fair. Yes, I didn't actually give you that. Give that to you, did I? The sketch of the experiment has been entered in the court record. Let me take a look at that. Okay, 2D image. It's just a science cannon pointed at what looks like the Eiffel Tower. I know it's not the Eiffel Tower, but it looks like it. About the investigation. Something Inspector Gregson said before seemed a little strange. For what it's worth, anyway. Investigating is off the cards for all of us. Yes, snotty old Gregsy ran off after that without explaining himself. Oh, right, that. The boss said no one's allowed to investigate that weird machine what blew up yesterday. But that's not fair. We're representing the defendant. In that case, could you at least tell us what you've learned from your investigations? Nah, you're not getting it. Oh, we ain't allowed to investigate neither. Why? What did the boss call him again? A forensic investigation team, I think? Anyway, apart from them lot, no one's allowed to lay a finger on the scene. It's funny, isn't it? So even Scotland Yard's own detectives can't investigate? Yes, I've never heard of something like that before. I thought I could have a gander on the quiet though, but the boss caught me at it. You probably heard him giving me an earful about it before from down here, didn't you? It's not bleeding fair. I think you were giving him as much of an earful back as I remember it. Yeah, well, sometimes, I think it's all them chips what make him so stubborn. You say something to him, Odo. You say something to him, Odo. Go on, see if you can get through to him. He's up on the platform above us, is he? Where the machine that exploded is? We can try, can't we, Bruno? Rexy will listen to us. Is it possible it got wet by any chance? I don't know. Something like that just doesn't seem... I don't know. Given the era, the kind of technology it is, and the way the machine looks, I would not be surprised if it's not waterproof. Although maybe that doesn't matter. I don't know. Where is it? The stairs obviously lead to the stage above. We should go up there and investigate the exact spot where the experiment was being conducted. (22nd of October). The Great Exhibition Grounds. Experimentation Stage. So that's it, is it? The machine that blew up? Excuse me. Oh, it must have been a magnificent explosion, and I've seen my fair share. You've seen things like this before, you mean? Of course, Hurley's always doing experiments that end in a bang. In fact, in his own words, explosions are the very essence of chemistry. Ah, that might explain the smell of burning that frequently comes wafting up the stairs. One time, he made something that exploded with such force, it took the roof roof off the building. I wish you'd been there to see it, Bruno. 1 second, I need to take care of something. It's hard to get too excited about that, given that I now live in the roof. Well, anyway, that's enough about that. It's time to investigate. Ah, look, Inspector Gregson is over there. He seems to be deep in thought about something, whilst eyeing up the machine carefully. Really? He just looks confused to me. It ripped itself apart magnificently, didn't it? Magnificently and mercilessly. So someone stands in the middle of the machine to be disassembled and then beamed through the air. Yes, beamed! Not blasted. That's the point. I'd still say it was blasted. Yes, that part's crucial, really. Is something like that even possible, though, Iris? Oh, Runo, I'm just a child. How should I know? A child when it suits you, you mean? From what I can tell, I think if you were to pull it... Stop! Don't touch that! That was practically instantaneous kinesis the way you flew over just now, Gregsy. Please, your ladyship. I didn't mean to startle you, but I can't let you touch anything up here. So sorry. You can have some of my latest special fun to make up for it. Ah, wonderful! This stuff really is wonderful! It's just like old times, this is. We're representing Professor Harebrained in court tomorrow, Inspector. So we should be allowed to examine the scene. Ah, listen, Sunshine! Even I'm not allowed to touch anything up here! It's that blasted special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act to blame. It's driving me potty. Oh yes, that special dispensation. The professor mentioned that too. More red tape's all we need. I don't know what the government's thing it's playing at sometimes. But we're allowed to just look, aren't we? Eh? Surely that's alright, isn't it, Gregsy? Pause, your ladyship! Anything you say, your ladyship! But please don't get your dainty hands on you, will you? Don't worry. We wouldn't dream of touching anything, would we, Runo? I'm going to tell you. You know what? I just realized what I was about to say! And I decided not to finish that. I apologize. I didn't realize what I was saying at first. I apologize. Hopefully I stopped myself soon enough. I apologize for not thinking before I spoke. We're just gonna pretend that didn't happen. Okay. Government policy. Using high voltage electricity to somehow disassemble a man's body, and then beam him across to the Crystal Tower. It's an extraordinary thing to attempt, especially in public. True, it was by far the most unusual of the experiments planned for the exhibition in mind. To be honest, I'm a bit surprised it was allowed. Carrying out something so dangerous with so many spectators present, I mean? The government's doing everything it can to promote new science technology at the moment. I'm more worried about being ahead of the game than the odd spot of public safety infringements. If they can be the first to develop some new technology, it makes Britain more powerful in the future, you see. Yes, I suppose that's true, in a way. So the powers that are placing a heavy emphasis on scientists right at the moment. What sort of rights? And making it so that any theories the brains have remain their legal property, as it were. Right through developing it into a practical idea and even going into production. Which is the infuriating reason that couples aren't allowed to touch the crime scene. Because the new highfalutin special dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act forbids it. Ah, I see now. The only people with permission to investigate here are from some brand new department at the Yard. The Forensic Investigation Team, it's called. We've been relegated to keeping guard. The Forensic Investigation Team. Any old fool who can see that this heap of scrap metal was a sham to begin with. But just because it says scientific equipment on the paperwork, you're gonna do a flaming thing with it. Poor Gregsy. He's very head up, isn't he? Remind me again, what's this new legal act that means we're not allowed to touch the scene here? Are you with me on Sunshine? This is a dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. Yes, I think Hurley mentioned that recently, with a real twinkle in his eye, as I remember. I'm sure he did, Your Ladyship. I'm sure he did. Perhaps especially for his great for this great exhibition it was. All scientists have to do is present their ideas on inventions of some suits in the civil service. And if it gets rubber stamped, that's a guarantee of rights to maintain the invention's confidentiality. What does that mean, really? Think about it. Think of all the world-changing new inventions on display every day at this exhibition. Although a good half of them are a load of cobblers, if you ask me, put forward by shammers like yourself. Thanks for that. Oh, I love how absurd some of the inventions here are. It's also fun. It might be fun to you, but a member of the force has to be present at every single demonstration. Can you imagine it? Hang science, that's what I say. Oh, I don't think so. That sounds like my dream job. You shouldn't think otherwise after spending a day guarding all these shammers' bogus contraptions. But if they're all bogus, how can anyone hope to demonstrate them? There'd be no point. Yeah, well, there's the point, sadly. Sorry? Thanks to another of our government's bright ideas. If any theory or invention is deemed to show potential, the government hands out a research grant. The scientists get funding? Exactly. And that's what they're all after. All these shammers coming far and wide to clog up Hyde Park. And who has to keep them all safe, eh? Who has to smile politely and welcome them? Us coppers, that's who. So you can see why I say it now, can't you? Hang science! Hate it! Oh, maybe I can see your point. Professor Harebrain. Apparently Professor Harebrain lives and works in Germany now conducting his research. That's right! Come back to Britain especially for the Great Exhibition, as I understand it. Probably after one of the government's research grants. Actually, we learned something else about the professor earlier today. About his time in further education. It turns out he was at university with someone we both know. Lord Van Zieks. Eh? What's that? That's news to me! But if Van Zieks means mass prosecution, then as the accused, the professor's fate is sealed because the Reaper will get him one way or another. Blimey, that man's beyond me. I don't know what goes on in that head of his. Talking of Van Zieks, the morning's paper ran the story of him being attacked. Read that? Oh yes, but Mr. Reaper is completely fine. Nothing to worry about. Yes, right. But here. Still, the Reaper, huh? How long's that business gonna keep up, I wonder? The mystery of the Reaper. The victim of this case, the investor, Mr. Asman. He was another of the Reaper's victims, or so I heard. Lord Baron Von Zieks is a top-class prosecutor, but even he can't always push the right verdict through. Sometimes justice can't win. Yes, I've heard about jurors being bribed and evidence being falsified. And that's how the notion of the Reaper of the Bailey came about, isn't it? Obviously, Scotland Yard suspected Van Zieks initially. We all assumed he would take matters into his own hands if he failed to seal the deal in court, although the man himself denies that charge. Well, we've done a very thorough investigation, and the conclusion we've reached, is that Lord Van Zieks is in no way related to the deaths of those people outside the courtroom. There's no question in my mind. I'd stake my reputation on it, I would. But if that's true, then how do you explain it? All those defendants couldn't have just coincidentally died if nobody killed them. I know that, but I can't explain it. It's a mystery after all, isn't it? That's the whole point of the Reaper. Professor Harebrained mentioned something else. He said that at university, Lord Van Zieks was a totally different person, easygoing and kind. You what? He said that it was after they both graduated that something happened to change that. Do you have any idea what it was? No clue. Really? Look, I've got my hands full watching over this frustrating crime scene. Why don't you go and make a nuisance of yourself elsewhere, eh? So I can look, but I can't touch. And I'm not gonna make that joke again. I'm glad I didn't go completely through with it. Considering how badly damaged everything is, Professor Harebrained was lucky to escape unscathed, I say. We should have a look, we should have a good look around the machine while we can, I think. Touch anything and I'll make sure I kill you before I get strung up myself, yeah? Trust me, I tried making that joke. I'm not gonna do it again. I know better this time. I wouldn't touch a thing, I promise. So please, spare a thought for your own digestion. Anyway, do you really think this machine could actually disassemble people like the professor claims? Well, it did with an explosion! Yeah, it's looking totally incredulous. Give it a rest, sunshine. If we were allowed to examine all this bleeding scrap metal, maybe we could answer that question. But we can't we? Because of the annoying rules, you mean? Exactly! The annoying, obstructive, flaming rules! Oh, look at the base of the machine there. Oh yes, there's a tool of some kind poking through the wire mesh. It's a screwdriver, I think. The handle is shaped like an A. Oh, isn't it a lovely one? The handle is in the shape of the capital letter A. It is. Oh yes, you're right. What's the matter with you? Don't touch anything, I said. Touch anything and I'll make sure I kill you before I get struck on myself, I said. Yes, I understand. Sorry. I only touched it a teeny bit. You still touched it. But Gregsy, I'm very curious about this screwdriver. Really very, very curious. Of course, your ladyship. You're so clever, your ladyship. Fancy spotting something like this. But I'm afraid I can't let you have it. But Bruno found it first. I assure you, I'll investigate it thoroughly. Looks like he's gone. He's gone off with it. That was very mean, I'm afraid. Inspector Gregson is going to make a very clumsy and embarrassing mistake in the next month's installment now. Poor Gregsy. What else can I examine here? There's this crate that I assume is just a crate, and that logo is just decoration. Here's Ferris wheel. What is that gigantic thing over there? Looks like an enormous water wheel. Oh, that's a Ferris wheel. There'll be people riding inside those little cabins, you see. Why? Well, they rotate nice and slowly, so it's a wonderful way to see the surrounding scenery. Wait, it's turning? But it looks completely still. Yeah, Ferris wheels are stupid slow, and I get that it's like to look around and get a better look of everything, but it was just so boring to me. Yes, that's because it's turning so slowly. One complete revolution takes about half an hour. If you were mad enough to go in one, it would be more fun to whiz around fast, don't you think? I feel as though you might have just invented a new sort of ride there, Runo. There's all this over here. There are all sorts of strange buildings here in the Great Exhibition Grounds, aren't they? I seem to remember something similar being exhibited in Japan one time. Oh, in your country, Runo? I do wish I could go and see it. I present a particularly steely samurai with a present of one of Hurley's stories I had written especially. And see if I couldn't get Hurley into a jam against some Baritsu Master Ninjas. You might not find as many of those sorts of people around as you think. Oh, well that's dull. Oh, but I do know a prosecutor with a Conmitch top knot I could introduce you to. A Conmitch? Really? Do you think I could have my picture taken with him? Do you? Assuming he's recovered from the trim Cosmo I gave him a year ago, yes. Is that really all we can examine up here? Kinda looks like it. Alright. I guess we're moving. Can we talk about anything else? Present? Inspector, have you read this paper? Yeah! 2-1 welcome blast, back to back. This one at the exhibition, the Reaper getting attacked. I know, terrible news, to wake up to, wasn't it? I tried to pretend I hadn't read it and turned over for another 40 weeks. Thanks to that, I was laid up and got a roasting from the super. Some mornings are like that, aren't they? As a detective, what do you make of this? Frankly speaking, 9 times out of 10, I find clues turn out to be red herrings. So there's every chance that's totally irrelevant. That's actually a fairly persuasive argument. Well, I can't think of anything else to do up here. There's nothing to talk to him about. And we can't... We've already gotten all we can do to present him with. And we've already examined everything there is to examine. I guess back to the prison? I do like how she calls him Bunny Brain, though. He's not here. Maybe I still have to look at the, Oh! Okay, that works. The Crystal Tower. It's certainly an apt name. I'm sorry, I gotta do something real fast. I think I'm good. Keyword being think. It was built to be the focal point of the exhibition, and it definitely is, being so tall and with all that glass. I can't imagine a building like this ever being erected in Japan. There are lots of exhibits inside the tower as well, apparently. Of course, there's an observation deck, but there's also an art gallery, a zoo, and a museum in a glass tower? What are they, mad? But I heard you had to queue for 3 hours just to get through the doors. Well, at the moment, the shattered glass from the failed experiment may well be the biggest draw. And thanks to that accident, the whole tower is shut. Suddenly, it's not the Crystal Tower anymore, but the Crystal Glass Shower. Apparently, everyone's taking to the skies now to look down the disaster area from above instead. But there's a 3-hour queue to go up in a balloon now. Londoners must be very patient people. Oh, wait. That's where the that's where the cove ended up after his instant kinesis or whatever they called it, dead of course. And yet they're calling the experiment a success? What's that wooden scaffold there for? A couple of lads set that up after the incident happened. To get the body down, I think. Don't know, really. Didn't you help erect the scaffold then? Nah, look out duty's more my thing. Wandering around the exhibition and keeping a lookout for the fun stuff. Mind Gregson didn't hear you saying that, or he'll give you the boot. Excuse me. It's incredible though, isn't it? I mean, could the victim really have bridged that gap by some sort of invisible kinesis? It's called an explosion! I've been meaning to ask you for a while now, but what are those funny round blobs floating in the sky? Oh, they're the flying balloons I've been talking about. I want to go up and win so much. I've read about situations like this in a magazine about a strange phenomena. Creatures from outer space coming around and flying objects to attack Earth? What? I suppose inhabitants of other planets are bound to be interested in the Great Exhibition. This is it, Iris. It's happening! It's not. Don't worry. I'll explain it all to you later over a nice cup of tea, Runo. Don't take me back up. Suppose it's very high up. About 30 feet above the ground, apparently. I can't believe I didn't think to look down there. That's what a policeman I just spoke to said. I don't really understand feet very well. We don't use them in Japan. Oh yes, sorry. It's about 9 meters. But soon you'll have been in London a year, Runo. It's time to get used to our measurements. Yes, well, this thing is so tall, the spectators at the front would just have seen a wall and nothing else. You probably thought that they'd secure the best spot to watch from, only to be disappointed. There's a saying in Japan, the darkest spot is right under the lighthouse. I feel like it probably applies here. Now what's all this? I just realized. For some reason the ground is damaged in this spot. Look. Almost as if there was a fire here or something. Yes, if you look closely, there's some scattered ash and burnt embers too. Well, I suppose there was a big explosion just above here. People probably wouldn't bat an eyelid at a small fire like this. Bat an eyelid at a small fire like this would have been... Okay, whatever. I'm not sure we English are quite that laid back, Runo. What's this? I just saw. Ah! It looks as though somebody dropped something behind the tree just here. Dropped or hit? What is this? Some part of the machine that exploded? Maybe. It could have fallen from the platform above in the blast, perhaps? What's going on here? Oh! Nothing! I think I'll hang on to this just in case. The mysterious contraption has been entered in the court record. The only thing I can think it is some kind of crossbow. But it's a little too, it looks a little too complex to be a crossbow. Let me take a look at that. Ah, there's some sort of lever here. Oh, no, it is a crossbow. I was right. It's a crossbow. And now it looks right. Yep, that is definitely a crossbow. What is this? It looks like a cross between a bow and a gun. I think it's probably used for the same thing, too. Crossbow. The details of the crossbow have been updated in the court record. A weapon found hidden behind a tree under the experimentation stage at the exhibition grounds. Turns out that it's a folding crossbow. Damn. It looks like you wind this around in order to draw the bowstring back and create tension. You must be able to fire arrows with a huge amount of force using this device then. In fact, I would imagine it's far more accurate and powerful than a Japanese longbow. Ugh, I really had no idea what I was picking up when I spotted this at the exhibition grounds. I mean, you're still there. Here's the trigger. Wait, what's this? This groove here must be where the arrows are loaded, I suppose. So I was right. It's a sort of bow with an automatic firing mechanism. It should be perfect for someone like me who catches his ear with a bowstring 2 out of 3 times. In fact, if I had one of these, maybe I could have beaten Kazuma in Kyudo archery training. Don't really know what I'm looking for. I got kind of LCD there and trying to set it back to normal. But still not hinting me to go to the prison or anything. Let's present this to Gina. Let's see what she thinks. Gina, would you take a look at... Oh, where did it go? Looking for this, Ono? Where did she do that? I wonder if you got anything else to show me, eh? What do you reckon? Give that back first, please. Let's take this up to Inspector Gregson and see what he thinks. These stairs obviously lead to the stage above. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, Gregson, what do you think about this crossbow? As a detective, okay. Oh, wait! I just noticed this. There we go! I didn't notice this before. That amazing horn-shaped device is pointing towards the Crystal Tower. Suppose once people are disassembled by the machine, they're shot out of that thing to wherever they're going. I don't think it was supposed to shoot anything. Reno. It was set up to beam people to the Crystal Tower where they'd be reconstructed in their original form. Well, I don't like the look of it. If it was as amazing as it looks, the accident wouldn't have happened in the first place, of course. I suppose that's true, yes. But nothing ever goes according to plan, does it? Let's see if there's anything else to take note of. We have the balloons again. Though I don't imagine we'd get anything from that. Okay, the balloons. So those are people carrying balloons dangling silently in the skies over London? I always thought the day would come when humans would discover how to fly. But I never imagined it would involve them being suspended from colorful floating Tamari handballs. I'm sure it must feel amazing being up there among the clouds. Let's take a ride together, Reno, please? If I'm being perfectly honest, I would like to try it. But without a cast iron guarantee that the thing won't plummet to the ground, I'm too scared. Oh well, in that case, I should tell you what Hurley said. It's physically impossible for a flying balloon to plummet to the ground, as long as it doesn't explode. Yes, call me crazy, but I think that exploding part might play on my mind a little. Yeah, I've examined everything here. Why does my D-pad stick like that? Here's a tank from up there. Why is my D-pad sticking? Seriously, I stopped playing with it for like 2 seconds and it starts sticking up. I'm just trying to fix my D-pad now. It doesn't look like I can look anywhere else. What am I missing? Am I missing something obvious here? Okay, now how do I get down from here? Okay, looks like I have to go somewhere else, and then come back. Maybe Shulman's Suite? Nope. Legal consultancy? Oh, we got something. 22nd of October. Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. We can talk to Iris. What to do? I'm so excited about the prospect of Naruhodo's Anything Consultancy opening for business again. Yeah! Oh, that's a reference to the future. I'm sorry. 1 second. I'm back, and I think I just accidentally opened my video editor. One second. I'm gonna mute again. Alright, here we are. I've done a lot of studying in these past 6 months, reading law texts and judicial precedents. I'm sure I'm a better lawyer now. I can't wait to start practicing again. Nothing's changing here at all, though, has it? It's as though time has stood still in here since Susie went back to Japan. I wanted to keep it ready for Mr. Sato, in case she was able to return to Britain at any point. So I've just left everything as the way it was. Oh, I see. Right. And there was me thinking it's because of the way you are, Runo. You know, never bothering to tidy up. I mean, that's me, basically. Iris, this isn't the time or the place to bring up my tidiness, or lack of it. Well, that accomplished nothing. Okay. Hey there. Hey there, Reaper. Lord Van Zeeks? I think he's ignoring you, Runo. The prosecution and defense should avoid speaking outside of the courtroom as a rule. So if anyone is being rude here, it's most certainly the man in black there standing before us. Oh, I see! Well, thank you for setting the record straight. Did you see that? He spoke to me, Runo! So, Lord Van Zeeks, have you managed to visit the Great Exhibition yet? He's definitely ignoring you. Right. No niceties either then. So I can't present anything to him. And his apprentice isn't here. Oh! Fucking... Okay, that actually did startle me a little bit. Yes, the Reaper's familiars, I expect. But what about the mutant man in the dark cloak? I thought he was the familiar. Not just the flying kind. He must be a dear friend of Mr. Reaper, then. I think the familiar idea is more likely. Scary, though, either way. Yeah, because I was going to present the crossbow to him. See if he had anything to say, but apparently not. I am lost. What am I missing here? What is it that this? Okay, I thought. I thought I was examining that as part of the damage. I didn't think that would be a separate thing. Oh, look! What's this? A ripped piece of cloth? It's not like any fabric I've seen before. It's very thick and stiff. It looks extremely durable. It's canvas, I think, with some sort of rubber backing. And the edges appear to be a bit charred as well. Maybe that means that has something to do with the explosion. Let's make a note of it while Genie's mid-yawn. Piece of green cloth. Okay, now the game's telling me what to do next. Alright. Runo, listen! What? What is it? I've been thinking. Actually, I just realized. I need to examine this. Let's see here. Nothing here. It looks like layers of thick canvas with a thick rubber lining of sorts. I've never seen anything like it before, but applying Mr. Sholmes' method, you might deduce it was part of a raincoat worn by someone who really, really didn't want to get wet. And the charring. It must have occurred when the person was struck by lightning. Or maybe not. Hurley might know something, mightn't he? About what? About Mr. Reaper! About what happened to Lord Van Zieks, you mean? Because it sounds like something very significant occurred after he graduated from university. Something that completely changed his life. Maybe, but I have no idea where to find Mr. Sholmes at the moment. He's here, isn't he? He's hanging upside down from some part of the tower, isn't he? He's in the middle of some big case, isn't he? Here, this is what you need. Psychic? Madame Tuspells? Is it supposed to be something? I'm sorry for the yawn. You don't know it? It's the most popular attraction in London at the moment. It's very close to Baker Street, actually. We can go now if you like. No, we don't have time for visiting attractions today, Iris. We have a big trial tomorrow. But that's where Hurley is. What? At this popular London attraction? Yes. How is it that you know where he is? Hurley told me, but he told me to keep it a secret from you, Runo. Madame Tuspells. I don't see how it could be related to the case we're investigating here, but then stranger things have happened, and when they happen, Mr. Sholmes is usually at the heart of them. We are about to reach the 2-hour mark, and in all honesty, as much as I would love to do one, we really do not have time for a logic and reasoning spectacular. But I'd rather hit the next to be continued point than skip it and then have only like 5 minutes left in the next stream. What is this place? Look at these terrifying scenes. But why are all the people so still? Guillotines? Ruthless murderers? I know what I'll be dreaming about tonight. They're all wax models. They're amazingly realistic, aren't they? What do you think, Runo? Shocked? Wax models? Ah! I read about dead bodies and wax ones in a magazine about strange phenomena. Depending on how corpses are kept after death, parts of them can turn to wax, apparently. It's called a... One second. I'm not looking up a minute-long video on how to pronounce that word. Stop talking about creepy things like that, Runo. You're scaring me. Anyway, that doesn't form readily, you know. Ah! What now? I've just remembered something else I read in another magazine about strange phenomena. Why do you read these? It was an old lady, maybe a witch, who used to pour molten wax over corpses and put them on display. None of these exhibits in here are real. They're all entirely man-made replicas. They can't be. Do you really expect me to believe that? Just look at them. Oh! There's no way anybody could make models of people that are this realistic. And they're all such gruesome scenes. Wait. What is it? Oh, no. I must be seeing things. Okay, we're going to ignore some of the obvious things. Actually, no, we're not. Nothing. Is this an arm? It looks like an arm, doesn't it? Maybe one of the wax models has fallen over. You don't think it could be the work of one of the mass murderers in here, do you? Bruno, stop scaring me! Is it a wax arm or a real one? Come on, you're always pointing that finger of yours in court. Poke that arm now and see how it feels. Objection! Okay, so we're not going to examine that any further. Is this some infamous murderer? Yes, called Jane the Ripper. Isn't Jack the Ripper like okay, this is a game with a rip-off Sherlock Holmes. So of course there's gonna be problems with public domain. But still, isn't Jack the Ripper public domain? All our victims were young women. I knew it. You could tell by the way she was holding the knife. Sure, a sign of murder. Well, yes. Ah! What's the matter, Bruno? I've worked it out. I know what she's doing. She's trying to fill that bathtub with blood so she can have Ahsoka in her victim's core. Not according to the information about the exhibit on the little board here. It doesn't mention anything about the bathtub. Really? Sorry, but I don't think it's significant. I still think it has to be there for a reason. Oh, curtain. That big heavy curtain is in a very prominent position, isn't it? It's a nasty. I have a nasty feeling there's going to be something truly terrifying behind it. Oh yes, that's the famous Two-Spell special exhibit. It depicts one of England's most notorious killers. Do you want to pay the extra fee and have a look? Pay more money to be even more terrified? Oh, let me think about that for a moment. Yeah, that's basically my mentality when it comes to horror movies. It was only a suggestion. These models here are so well made, I can't tell what's waxwork and what's a real human. Or maybe all the exhibits are real people. And when it's closing time, all the visitors have gone home and they suddenly start moving about. Toy Story! Just thinking about it makes me wish it was closing time already and I was on my way home. Is this an example of Western Sujigiri? I don't know what that is. Same here! You know, when an unscrupulous samurai randomly attacks a passerby to test his sword? I still don't know, no. But actually, a waxwork samurai would probably be hugely popular. Could you model it, do you think, Bruno? Doing that Sujigiri thing you mentioned? Well, I do have a sword, but I have no intention of testing how sharp it is on a human suspect. For now, subject. For now, at least. Okay, now let's examine the obvious. It's... the great detective, Sherlock Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes has his own wax statue here? Really? Well, he is world famous after all. It's an uncanny resemblance, isn't it? It makes my skin crawl to look at it. I know! But look, Bruno, you can kick this Hurley, and he doesn't move a muscle! You can't go around kicking the exhibits, Iris. It just moved, I'm sure. And I'm not just a bit, and I'm not just a little bit either. Really? Did it? And look closely. There are beads of sweat on the face of this waxwork model. Shall we move on, Iris? Over there, look! There's a great murder scene. Joy, much more appealing. Mighty dear fellow, I take exception to your recoiling in such a manner, as if you've seen something truly abhorrent. Mr. Sholmes! I knew it! Iris, what possessed you? I strongly forbid you from divulging my temporary waxwork secret to Mr. Naruto. Temporary waxwork? What do you mean? And that kick! Could you not have exercised a little more restraint? You winded me! But Bruno has something he needs to ask you. Ah, a question? And I thought you'd probably be getting bored too. So here we are. Well, I can't deny that your timing was impeccable. Excuse me. A mere 2 minutes before being stationary like that. And my great brain, upon which all my success has been built, will turn to wax. Thank goodness we arrived in time. Indeed, in many ways, the pair of you just saved the world from an unimaginable loss. Oh, Hurley, you do like to talk nonsense, don't you? You could know something, it's true, about Lord Van Zieks and what happened in the past to change him. Now that you're here, let's take our time. How can I be of assistance? For your own luck, I'm suddenly quite taken with the idea of conversing. Oh, well, actually, I'm in quite a hurry. And if my eyes don't deceive me, I believe something is afoot within the walls of this very museum. A most fascinating case, if I'm not mistaken. Someone was murdered behind that curtain. Moreover, I have a strong suspicion that it is related to the matter about which you've come to me now. But how could it be? We shall speak again presently, my dear fellow. But for now, I must return to my work. What? Back to being a temporary waxwork exhibit? Madame Tuspel's. What is this place? Madame Tuspel's came to London from France 3 years ago, I understand. Since she opened this little waxwork museum last year, it's enjoyed popularity in London. There are museums like this in Japan too. Oh, there are museums like this in Japan too, but these displays are something else. I mean, they aren't even made from actual real people, are they? The extreme realism of these waxwork models is a particular secret of the Tuspel's family, they say. They earned renown during the French Revolution for waxworks of victims of the guilty. That sounds grim. The gruesome scenes were portrayed with such realism in the expressions of the faces of the condemned. Apparently, the sculptors would make the models directly from the corpses, right there at the site of the execution. That really turns my stomach. That's just one of the several legends about the Tuspel's family. Whether there's any truth in it, I couldn't say. But anyway, this museum houses models of famous people from all over the globe. Nevertheless, the most popular area of the museum, by quite some margin, is the House of Horrors. House of Horrors? Of course, visitors' numbers are dwindling now as a result of the Great Exhibition. But people usually flock here to see the exhibits of some of London's most vile criminals at their gruesome work. Naturally, most of the miscreants portrayed here were sent to the gallows. So they're even stiffer now than the models of them! Have you heard of poor taste? My dear fellow, the public live for poor taste. They yearn to be shocked. So, the hideous exhibits in here are... They're all portrayals of real events that actually took place. Is it just me, or did the temperature in here just seem to drop? Anyway, I advise you not to think too deeply about what you see here. Oh, he's back to being a waxwork, is he? Temporary waxwork. What do you mean by a temporary waxwork, Mr. Sholmes? Exactly what you see. I'm part of the exhibit here, catching these criminals in the act. Catching them? Every half an hour, I home in on a different killer in one of the displays and adopt a new pose to ensnare them. When members of the public come for a closer look, I offer them my hand to shake. For a shilling, I'll happily allow them to take a photograph with us. Us? Does he mean him and the waxwork murderers here? But why, Mr. Sholmes? My dear fellow, isn't it obvious? For the money! He really roared at me there. Very fitting for the House of Horrors. As it stands, I may struggle to pay this month's rent, and I have the ravenous Iris to consider. Oh, Hurley, I'm so hungry. If push comes to shove, I shall have to ask you to do your bit, Mr. Naruto. What's he threatening to rope me into now? So, with that in mind, how about a photograph? As a special treat, you may have your pick of the murderers and scoundrels in here. The choice is yours. Maybe some other time. Remember, Mr. Naruto, ignore me at your peril. Back to being a waxwork again. Is it just me, or did his final remark that sound a bit like a curse? Something to ask you. Well? What does he like to ask me then? Actually, it's about Lord Van Zeeks. Ah, friend Mr. Reaper, how did you find him? Well, I trust? And I guess this fade to black is a recapping. So I filled Mr. Sholmes in about everything I learned. About Lord Van Zeeks, about Professor Hairbrain, about the strange coincidence that they had been at university together. So I'm wondering what it was that happened to make Lord Van Zeek such a different person. I was sure that you'd know, Hurley. You said there was something going on here in this exhibit hall before. That something was afoot, and that you believed it was related to what I wanted to ask you about. Mr. Sholmes? He suddenly clammed up. Waxwork in a different position. Well, it seems we've reached an unavoidable... Greetings. Oh! Hello! Where did she appear from? What's she wearing? Did she look any more mysterious? I hope you are appreciating my museum. Sorry? Have we? Mr. Sholmes, do you know this? Not again! My apologies. I am Esmeralda Two Spells. This is my museum of waxwork. What? You're the Madame Two Spells? And so, I can't... Really only 26 years young, I might add. Is that significant somehow? I am Madame in name only. It adds a certain je ne sais quoi. Right. Firstly, I must apologize for my waxworks, or rather, one waxwork in particular. That'll be Mr. Sholmes. I was led to believe he was a great detective, but he seems unable to settle. Next time you move from your designated exhibit, there will be toil and trouble. She sounds deadly serious. That's a problem. How am I supposed to ask Mr. Sholmes about Lord Van Zeeks now? Let's not forget what Hurley said before. About something being afoot. Right here in the museum, I mean. Yes, I know, but... I'm so curious. I want to know what's happening here. Haven't we got enough on our plate already? The waxworks. Did you make all these waxworks, Madame Two Spells? I did. I am the third generation of waxwork artisans, you know? Gosh! It was my grandmother who began the tradition of my family. Her fortunes were checkered, living through the turbulent times of the French Revolution as she did. Though that is when she acquired the savoir-faire that leads to the astonishing lifelikeliness. All these waxworks really do look as though they're alive. In fact, they look more alive than Hurley. What you see exhibited here represents the most atrocious of London's criminal past. All the waxworks here were created in the presence of the real people of which they are modeled. In the hours immediately following their executions. That is the secret of the extraordinary lifelikeliness. That sounds terrifying. Hold on, that went past me. Hold on. It represents the most atrocious of London's criminals. All the waxworks were created in the presence of the real people on which they are modeled in the hours immediately following their executions. How do you get permission for that? All walks of life have similar challenges, I'm sure. To carry out one's trade by excellence, one must go to extraordinary lengths. My exhibits are a reflection of society. I create only that which the public wishes to see. Why couldn't the public have wished for something less horrifying? Do not fear. Sorry? This room is the only one in the museum with such a macabre theme. I do hope you'll explore. There are models of famous singers, actors, politicians, something for every taste, I hope. It was Iris who dragged me straight in here, come to think of it. Sorry, perhaps I should have eased you into things. The Great Detective Waxwork. What's the situation with that? My temporary waxwork model? He approached me some days ago, you see, with a business proposal. Oh, what sort of proposal? My dear madame, what these sparse exhibits need is the addition of a world-famous great detective. Was that to that effect? Naturally, I am well aware that Mr. Sholmes is widely known in London as a talented detective. It's great detective, actually. He's very specific about it. Yes, the creme de la creme. So I was keen to come to some arrangement with him, of course. But sadly, we were unable to agree terms. Let me guess, someone wanted to charge an exorbitant price for his services? For a mere £500, I will dive into your cauldron of wax this very moment! Oh, well, to that effect. Mr. Sholmes might have overdone it slightly with the sales pitch. Regrettably, the museum has a shortage of funds at the moment due to unforeseen circumstances. The Great Exhibition, I assume? So we came to the current arrangement instead. Surely he doesn't really need to do what he's doing though, does he? I would think not, but he was very insistent. I have a 50-shilling problem that must be resolved by this morning. Or was to that effect? I think I've far since left French. A French accent there. I don't think I'm doing that anymore. I'm trying to do a French accent. I am failing. It's the pawnbroker. That's what it is. He must have. He must have something to redeem. Is the consulting detective work not going so well? Something afoot. I wonder. Could I ask you something, Monsieur? I'm just curious. Is anything going on in the museum at the moment? Some kind of incident, perhaps? Why have suggested such a thing to you? Oh, well, it was your temporary waxwork over there who mentioned it to me a little... Oh! He disappeared. A wax model is a work of art, not some tawdry object for trade. There you are! Even the exhibit again when you should be working? Do you wish to be melted down? My dear Madame Tuspel, save your reprimands! There are more pressing concerns! The wax can wait! It is our ideas about your current problem we must throw into the melting pot instead! Personally, I would advise you not to involve the police. Why have not? She turned as white as a sheet. Because you have at your disposal a great detective, whose services you may employ for a mere 50 shillings. Though please be aware that I prefer... No, I insist upon payment in advance! Very well. Let's see if the great detective is able to live up to his name, shall we? One second. Before I engage my analytical processes, I must ask you to clarify something. What, pray, is behind the curtain? That is the True Spells special exhibit. There's an extra charge to see it. Ah, the special exhibit of the House of Horrors! It must depict a special killer then, I presume. Would you be so kind as to draw back the curtain, I wonder? Absolutely none! There's nothing amiss behind there. Nothing amiss, madame? What about the arm protruding ominously from under the curtain? I strongly encourage you to allow me to see what lies beyond before the situation worsens. Yes, very well. I will draw back the curtains, but only some... Hold on. I'm looking that up. What? Okay, a very small quantity of something. Okay. I must confess, I peeked behind the curtain earlier. The True Spells special exhibit is a very bleak graveyard scene indeed. And yet, somewhat surprisingly, the waxwork killer, one would expect, is nowhere to be seen. What does strike one, however? That's one of the jurors. Is a portly gentleman lying peacefully on his back on the floor. Well, then perhaps we should. Sorry about the yawn. That man on the floor is the ruthless killer himself. I'm afraid not, my dear fellow. He's a perfectly ordinary London gentleman. Not even a watchwork, in fact. What? As skillfully managed these watchworks are, they are always distinguishable from real humans. So allow me to present my two conclusions. The first is that a sizable business transaction has been taking place in this special exhibit. Why? Why would you say that? And the second is that the aforementioned transaction is linked to a serious crime. She looks as pale as candle wax. I don't understand. So, Madame True Spells, as you've agreed to my fee, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work. The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. Waxworks Fate. To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in this museum. The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helplessly from your bag. In my estimation, some £200. That is all my own money. So what does this large sum of money reveal? Not as much as the involuntary glance you cast. As the involuntary glance you cast, it would seem, Madame True Spells. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes fall now. The significance of the £200 is revealed by that public notice. Waxwork for sale. Your business has hit hard times, it would seem. In short, you sold the infamous killer the centerpiece of your special exhibit for the sum of £200. None. Now let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. Who is the portly gentleman stretched out there peacefully on the floor? It would appear the man has suffered a severe shock. the cause of which is clearly known to you. Unfortunately, madame, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man such a shocking blow is, of course, the 200 pounds. It would appear that you twisted this gentleman around your little finger most effectively. What are you suggesting? I see another arm behind her. He rationally agreed to purchase the waxwork for the sum of 200 pounds. Only when he came to hand the money over did it occur to him that extortionate amount he was paying. But the money was no longer in his hands. As a result, the scene we see before us, he collapsed in shock. I think he was hit by the wax arm. Yes, the killer in the special exhibit fetched for killer price. We can only pray that the gentleman's dreams are not plagued with regret. Sold for cash. Obviously. The question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that has changed hands? Let us consider that problem for a moment. You cannot possibly. What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is this young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe the neckerchief! Status is available, please inquire. Such a sworn by policemen as a secret sign to fellow members of the force that a crime is being perpetrated. Yes, this young man is an undercover policeman currently investigating this museum. I know him well, in fact. It's Sergeant John Clay. What are you talking about? The man's quite a celebrity. He received triple accolades from last year's policing awards. What? Next, we turn our attention to the old man sat before him with a particularly unsightly visage. I've been watching closely and he hasn't moved a muscle, almost in fact as if he were a waxwork. Oh, but you... Your reaction only confirms my suspicion, madame. I noticed it at once, of course. Observe! The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork or the obvious price tag. 3 pence? A tragically low price, you might say. Though perhaps the going rate for aging waxworks riddled with cracks. And yet you sold it to the portly gentleman for an exorbitant 200 pounds. The sort of plucky behavior that's sure to attract the attention of Scotland Yard. Is that so, madame? I do not... Yes, the waxwork you sold has already been seized by the police and remains in their custody as we speak. The old man must be reunited with his grave in the special exhibit, and not a moment too soon. Oh, my head. This concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of the horrifying puzzle. I like her. I see I stunned you all into silence. You have, Hurley, you have. And you've obviously upset this young lady in the process. Her cauldron looks awfully hot. If I could just bring up one point, Mr. Sholmes. Ah! The notorious Naruhodo 1 point! I'm all ears, my dear fellow! According to your deduction, then, the special exhibit featured this old policeman. So, that would mean he's the particularly ruthless murderer, wouldn't it? The killer's policeman? Automo. Sorry? It was a mysterious series of murders that rattled the capital only last year. The police rushed to the scene every time, only to find the culprit had disappeared into the ether. And it turned out the culprit was a policeman himself, a senior officer by the name of Ottermall. So you mean that's who the sinister-looking old man in there is supposed to be? Indeed, has a particularly grim face, is it not? Unforgettable, in fact. Yes, I remember that odious countenance only too well. But it is 200 pounds. But is 200 pounds a lot of money for a wax model? It would be enough to afford one of the latest steam carriages if that puts things into perspective. So, it is quite a lot then. Is there anything else you wish to add? Before I melt you down? That bubbling wax is looking more and more ominous. The smell of that molten wax is starting to worry me. Mr. Sholmes did more or less just accuse her face to face, so I think I might have to call on your assistant here, Iris, if that's alright, to make some minor corrections to the Great Detective's great deductions. Of course it's alright. We'll soon set things straight. Well, let's get started then, shall we? Before Madame Tuspels vents her anger? Just what I've been waiting to hear, my dear fellow! So, Madame Tuspels, in accordance with our agreement, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. I'm gonna have to shoot through this. Lawyer money. So what does this large sum of money reveal? She's looking over there. Public notice. She definitely looked in this direction, it's true. I'm not sure she'd sell any of her waxworks, even for 200 pounds. Oh? She must pour her heart and soul into making them, don't you think? Over and above the wax? If it were me, I wouldn't sell them for anything. For that much money, I would. But it sounds like that makes me a bad person. Well, anyway, I wonder if the 200 pounds could have some other significance. Let's follow that furtive glance again, and see if there's anything else I could explain it. Let's see, she was looking... I don't think she was looking directly at the notice. There's the portly man. It seems this well-dressed gentleman is alive after all, just not alive and kicking. And he's not a waxworker or a model of a mass murderer. I'm not sure I'd pay 200 pounds for him. I don't think he's the man. I don't think the man's up for sale. Well, anyway, it was a silly place to put him. Other museum visitors could easily trip. I don't think the man was put there on purpose either. Oh, here we go. Note on the wall. What does it say? What's that note pinned on the wall there? Oh, yes, let's see. Dear Madame Tuspels, we've taken the prisoner from this room. The price for his safe return is 200 pounds. Have the money ready by noon on the 23rd of October. What? This is... It's just like the sort of thing that's left behind when someone is kidnapped. Yes, it's a ransom note. Exactly. Ransom note.
Take that!
The significance of the 200 pounds is revealed by that ransom note. Quite so, and we must congratulate these criminals on their inventiveness abducting your waxwork. 200 pounds is no small ransom fee, yet you clearly intend to pay it. The model in question is special importance, so I put together all the money I have. In summary, then, the 200 pounds you have in your handbag is ransom money. Now, let us explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. Who is the portly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor? He's a juror, I know that much. It would appear the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Unfortunately, Madame, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man a shocking blow was, of course, the 200 pounds! So if the waxwork was kidnapped, where does that leave us in terms of who this man is? We could just ask him when he comes around. I think the point of this exercise is to understand the beauty of the deduction process, Iris. Yes, you're right. But he's trying so hard, we mustn't let him down. Well, there's little doubt that he suffered a shock. That must seem clear. But in that case, what's Madame Tuspel's trying to hide? Let's have a closer look around. Hand of Madame. This is just Madame Tuspel's right hand, isn't it? No. And clearly see her left hand after all. Oh, but wait a minute. This is a left hand as well, look. Don't say such creepy things, Iris, please. And it seems very stiff, too. In fact, it's really hard. You mean it's made of wax? Waxwork hand.
Take that!
But dealt the man such a shocking blow with, of course, the waxwork hand. Indeed, with a solid waxwork whim, one could deliver a very substantial blow. How could you? The hand protruding from the bottom of your cape. It ought to be a right hand, but on closer inspection reveals that it's in fact a left hand. Huh? And somewhat masculine as well. In other words, it does not belong to you, madame. It is the hand of a waxwork model. Some of the visitors to my museum can be troublesome and meddle with the exhibits and cause damage. So you mean that arm? Yes, this gentleman saw fit to try to remove it as a souvenir. No small keepsake. Like talking to a branch of a cherry tree when you go to view the blossoms. I mean, like taking a whole branch of a cherry tree when you go to view the blossoms. I'm afraid I had to teach them out a lesson. You confronted the man and tried to take the arm back. And the result? The scene we see before us. He was knocked unconscious. A point we may need to revisit later, but for the time being, we have our conclusion. Yes, the killer in this special exhibit has been kidnapped! Kidnapped. Excuse me. The question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands? Let us consider the problem for a moment. You cannot possibly. What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we can only observe his neckerchief. According to Mr. Sholmes, the yellow neckerchief is a sign to other policemen some crime is underway. A way of communicating with his colleagues without revealing his identity, yes. It's a secret that's closely guarded by Scotland Yard, that Mr. Sholmes didn't hesitate to give away. Well, uncovering secrets is in any true detective's nature, of course. Right. Anyway, judging from Madame Tuspel's reaction to Mr. Sholmes' seduction, I think perhaps we might not have identified the man quite correctly. Oh! What the? The man has a stub sticking out of his shoulder where his arm should be. Ah, well that settles that then. Right, this isn't a real person at all. His entire arm's been ripped off, from the shoulder down. His arm's been... Of course, that ties in with what we just found out.
Take that!
Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his shoulder stub. No such boneless human walks this earth, of that I can assure you. In other words, the man standing here, the young Sergeant John Clay, is in fact defying all odds a waxworks model. I'm sorry, I need a... I'm back. I seem to remember it was you who concluded he was a real person in the first place, Mr. Sholmes. He has become quite a celebrity in London, being the winner of no less than 3 placing awards last year. I simply had to make a model of the man. Naturally! What other explanation can there be? And it was this detective's arm that was pulled off by the man on the floor of the special exhibit, wasn't it? Next, we turn our attention to the old man sat before him with a particularly unsightly visage. I can actually see... Hold on. I just noticed he's not within the ropes. So I'm starting to think it's switched. That the old man is actually a real person. Ah, but your reaction only confirms my suspicion, madame. I noticed at once. Of course, observe! The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious price tag. It's the neckerchief. A killer policeman called Ottermall, was it? Was he well known? He was all over the papers last year, but I can't say I know what he looks like. It's a very low price though. 3 pence isn't much money. Only enough for a few measly hours of gas in Mr. Garrity's delightful lodgings, in fact. So this is a special killer taken from the special exhibit, is it? A waxwork that somebody stole from the museum and tried to ransom for £200. Is this crusty old killer policeman Ottermall really? Perhaps we should have a good look around and see if another idea crops up. Okay, there we go. Oh, what's this? Look at this! The old man's tapping his foot like crazy! He seems to be fast asleep, though. He's not tapping his foot consciously, then? So you mean... It must be a twitch! Never mind that. The point is the waxwork that waxworks don't tap their feet. Or twitch! Look at his arm, too. We've seen a scarf like that somewhere else around here, haven't we?
Take that!
The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious twitch. Even the most realistic waxworks don't exhibit a twitch. In other words, this splendid old man is in fact a genuine member of Scotland Yard. Slight shift in your choice of adjectives then. And there you have it! Well, Madame Tussbells? Hell, what? It was me who contacted the police and demanded that someone come in the first place. He is clearly fatigued. He is sound asleep. But then, what's this tag about showing a price of 3 pence? No doubt the price tag of the muffler, which the old Bobby purchased recently at a local market. And I presume you observed the scarf tied around his arm. Does that not strike you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, a secret sign used by detectives to show that some criminal activity is underway. Of course, because, as you know, there has been just such criminal activity happening here. As you deduced from the very beginning, Detective. So, it seems that we finally arrived at the truth. The waxwork of the especially ruthless killer from the special exhibit has been kidnapped. And Scotland Yard are already investigating. But the model's whereabouts remain a mystery. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle. Still a mystery. Deduction complete. Elementary. All sorts of people visit my museum here. Men, women, young and old. Sometimes they drop in just for a short time on their way back from the pub. I welcome them all. But if anyone tries to damage my exhibits, I do not take it lightly. Anyway. Your great deduction was even more enchanting than I had been led to believe. It was a pleasure, my dear madame. I'm gratified that you enjoyed the spectacle. And as for your rough customer, I've no doubt he'll regain consciousness shortly and return home. What concerns me more is the waxwork from the special display, if it was indeed genuinely abducted. Yes, tragically it was. Then I would ask you to recount to us the events surrounding the stolen waxwork. That's the body we found, Scotland Yard found, at the scene, in the Crystal Tower. In as much detail as possible, if you please. Oh, I'm gonna be here a while, aren't I? Very well. But after I have told you what I know, I must insist that you return to your work. 1 second. The talents of a great detective could be put to better use, I feel. But as you wish. The stolen waxwork. Tell us more about the stolen waxwork, please. It was some days ago now. When I came in here one morning, I immediately noticed that a waxwork was missing from the special exhibit here. It is your most prominent display, so that's why the curtains were closed. And I found a ransom note in its place. The culprit must have broken in during the night and taken it then. So this waxwork that was stolen, it was a model of some horrible criminal, I suppose? A particularly horrible criminal, in fact. The killer who left a more profound scar on society than any other, I would say. The Professor. The what? So, Mr. Naruto, it seems the circle is complete. Sorry? The Professor case has, happened, at around the time I was born, didn't it? Indeed it did, Iris. 10 years ago, a series of murders that rocked the capital. 10 years ago? Yes, at exactly the time the Baron von Zieks graduated from university, in fact. What? Surely he's not saying... So the big event that changed Mr. Reaper's life? As you've surmised, it was the Professor case. Who was this Professor then? The Professor. It was a series of gruesome murders that had all of London gripped in terror a decade ago. After 5 victims were killed, a man was arrested and put to death. And now he's immortalized here in wax for all Londoners to admire and enjoy. Though, of course, he happens to be absent at present on the account of the abduction. But I don't understand. How is all this related to Lord Van Zieks? You must first understand, my dear fellow, why it is that the Professor earns such infamy. It was due to the victims he chose, some of Whitehall's finest. What do you mean, Hurley? Those murdered by the Professor were some of the highest members of British aristocracy. Members of nobility, even royalty. It sent shockwaves to the country's administration. Members of the... wait, of course. What Professor Harebrained said. Lord Van Zieks is from a family with noble blood. Oh gosh! So, Van Zieks was killed. It was the fifth victim that led to the Professor's arrest. The last of the killer's prey was a young noble by the name of... Clint Van Zieks. Yeah. I don't believe it! Van Zieks? I'm sure you can piece together the rest for yourself. In the wake of his older brother's murder, the young Barak pursued a career as a prosecutor, and eventually became the Reaper we know today. I had no idea Lord Van Zieks had such a tragic past. Well, I'm afraid that's all I can say on the matter, for the time being at least. After all, I have work to do. As a waxwork exhibit! I'm afraid I shall have to excuse myself as well. Oh, yes, of course. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Well, none of the predicted scenarios I've been analyzing involved you coming to visit me here. It's been too long, it really has. I'm delighted to see you, Barak. It's been 10 years. Here we are, meeting in a prison of all places. I can't forgive myself for what happened to Asmund. I just can't. I still can't believe it could happen. Tomorrow the court will decide. Yes! I have a young Eastern man acting for my defense. He seems reliable enough, though. It was an accident! A terrible accident! He assures me he can prove it! I must warn you. Oh, I know! I've heard already. You're going to be prosecuting, aren't you? Yes. Since I returned home to England, I've heard lots of stories. Barak, are you really... What? Never mind. I know that you have my best interest at heart. My friend is on trial. I wouldn't trust it to anybody else. Of course, I fully understand. Thank you, Barak. Until tomorrow, then. I'll see you in court. To be continued! Alright, next time we will be streaming Great Eggs Attorney 2 Resolve. Will be next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Assuming everything goes well with what I do before these streams. But in between now and then, you can catch me streaming Pokemon Crystal on Saturdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we shall be going after our second gym badge. But sometime before that, I will be uploading a video I pre-recorded at some point, both Sunday and yesterday, Monday. At some point, I'll be uploading that before the next stream. And yeah, we'll see what happens there. I will see you guys then.